All right, I think we're live. I'm here with Ivan Poon. He's the co-founder and CEO of Switcheo Labs. My name is
Hi.
Johnny, and we're here to talk about carbon. Thank you for being here, Ivan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, of course. So I just wanted to start a little bit with like a little bit on your background and like how you got into working at Switcheo in the first place.
Right. So I'm the co-founder of Switcheo, and we actually started sometime 2017, 2018, building DEXs. 2018, we built the first DEX on the Neo blockchain, NEO blockchain. And more recently, we also built the first DEX on Zilliqa, which is another layer one blockchain. It's called ZilSwap. And today we are here to talk about like our latest innovation, which is Carbon, a Cosmos SDK chain that basically it powers taxes and a whole lot more. And I guess we'll delve into it in a bit.
Yeah, no, let's talk about carbon a little bit. Do you want to just start with filling us in on the token? It's called like Switcheo SWTH. You want to tell us about the protocol and where the concept came from?
Uh, yeah, so going back to Switcheo, right? The token it's called SWTH mainly because of our roots. We started building DEXs under the Switcheo brand name, and we called the token SWTH. We soon realized that building multiple DEXs on multiple layer one chains don't make much sense, and that's why we migrated our token to Carbon, the Cosmos SDK based chain, which actually can power cross-chain sort of swaps. So, SWTH is the native token of Carbon, uh, the Carbon protocol now. So it's used in the same way like you use Atom for the Cosmos Hub, where you stake atoms as the protocol token for Cosmos Hub. Same way, SWTH you stake it as the native token for Carbon. So Carbon itself, why we built it, it's that after building so many layer one dexes, we're like, hey, we should build something that can actually trade across chains rather than having liquidity isolated on individual chains. So that's why we felt a Cosmos SDK approach makes a lot of sense because it's makes it easy to do IBC, which is what's coming up really soon. Um, and on top of that, we also connected through other bridges. For example, we are connected to Ethereum and BSC through a non-IBC bridge, and that allows us to say deposit EVM-based tokens and then trade across the different EVM chains or any other chain that we have integrated. So, for example, Zilliqa, Neo are some of the other chains that we have actually connected to.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, one of my questions actually is why did you decide to build on Cosmos? And you kind of answered it. Is there more? I mean, obviously there's probably more to that too, right? Could you
Yeah.
elaborate on
So
why Cosmos?
right. So definitely there's more. One of the other reasons is that we like, I mean, I think two main reasons. One is that it's really permissionless and it's really open to anyone to build on compared to say the competitors like Polkadot, etc. And the second reason is that it's very scalable in the sense that rather than building stuff as smart contracts, which is basically a virtual machine, by building on Cosmos SDK, we can actually optimize and fine tune it, purpose build it, so to speak, to exactly what we want to do. Which is, in this example, it's exchange of tokens. So in that way, we can actually process like thousands or to tens of thousands of trades every second, uh, in a way that any other method, any other methodology will not work. So it's definitely not going to be possible on say Ethereum or even BSC.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. So you want to tell us a little bit? I actually am not totally sure, but what is like what benefits do you get from staking the Switcheo token? Is this something that's
Right.
supposed to be like fluid, or do you want to stake it? Is there?
So there's two options right now, right? Right now you can stake it, but once you stake it, it's locked, and you do get the block rewards from it. Something different from other chains is that because we do have like a broker module directly within the chain, all trade commissions for each market. So trade commissions or fees for each trade is set individually per market. But all of these also go into the block rewards. And this block rewards is actually distributed to stakers. So this all on chain or direct and something that very few other protocols have. So that's for staking. Of course, you can if you can also choose to say provide liquidity for the token. And Carbon does have a module that it's an on-chain LP module. So this does have there's a curve for it, and we don't want to go into the details, but basically some of the block rewards is actually funneled to liquidity providers of the protocol. So let's say you have SWTH token, you decide that the EU is better to provide liquidity. That's something you can do. You can provide, say, SWTH versus USDC, and you do get a portion of the block reward as well.
Oh, so that's actually really interesting. So if you stake the SWTH token, Switcheo, you'll get rewards in like Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and a bunch of other ones too, like Zilliqa.
Correct. Correct. So when you claim rewards, you get like a whole all the different tokens that are being traded, and I think most users will see a lot of Ether rewards as well as like USDC rewards, because those are like our main trading pairs or the base token that a lot of the markets use.
Yeah, that makes it actually really interesting. I just wanted to target the audience real quick. I saw somebody wrote something. If you guys want to put questions into the chat log in the Q&A, we can tackle those at the end. I kind of want to just get like a basis for people that don't really understand Switcheo to try to understand it a little bit, and then we'll tackle those questions. Cool. Well, thanks, Ivan. That's actually really interesting. So, I mean, you can provide LPs on Switcheo, and then if you stake the token, you get rewards for every single chain.
Right.
And there's a lot of bridging capabilities too. So providing liquidity, you can hop over from Zilliqa, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and move over to Cosmos now.
Right. Exactly. So one of the other thing that I think is really interesting that's probably unique among the other Cosmos-based chains, it's also that we don't just deal with cross-chain spot markets. We have modules that actually are capable of creating derivatives as well. So this means perpetuals, futures, options, and basically this sort of modules can construct on-chain order books of derivative markets. So you can say trade BTC future that expires at a certain date, for example, and this is all on-chain within the Carbon protocol.
So it's an incredibly powerful trading platform. And is that Carbon or is that DemX?
Yeah, so that's Carbon. That's the protocol itself. We actually built a lot of modules directly on chain, so you can actually trade in a decentralized way, and yet it's really scalable. It's really optimized. So DeMx is it's a sort of we like to think of it as a DApp on top of the chain or interface on top of the chain, and this DMX basically shows the data on chain in a way that users are familiar with. So we display the order books, we display the market data, etc., the charts, and all these are basically just fetched directly from the on-chain data from the protocol. So why we say that, why we call it a UI is because there are actually many ways to view and access the data. Right now it's an order book sort of methodology, right? Order book sort of UI, but we are looking at different types of UI that maybe certain other segments of the audience may be familiar with. So for example, you want to do a Uniswap like UI, where you just go enter your source token and what token you want on whatever chain, and then you just do this swap in a way that's very familiar to what our DeFi audience are using right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a DApp. So I feel like this question is kind of relevant, so I just want to throw it on the stage real quick. What will there be a DEMX coin? Somebody wants to know.
So because Carbon is like the main protocol, it's like Ether, right? If you look at the EVM chain. Now if we do a DMX token, it's kind of like say Uniswap token, but we need to make sure that there's a purpose for it and that you don't just want to mint tokens for the sake of minting tokens. So we've tossed around the idea before, and the purpose of doing such a token would be really to decentralize the full stack. What this means is that right now Carbon is decentralized, it's hosted by a bunch of validators, and they validate transactions, etc. But the UI itself, it has to be hosted by someone. It has to be served on the cloud or on some sort of server, right? So the question for us is always, how do we also decentralize this part of the stack? And if we can use, say, like a DMX token to incentivize decentralization of the UI as well, then that's something we'll be really interested in. Yeah. So we are still exploring.
Yeah, that could be a clever solution.
Yeah. So we're still
I know that there are a couple DEXs hosted on Akash at the moment. That could be another solution that's built within the Cosmos, and you guys are enabling IBC. That kind of goes into my next question. Like what role do you see Carbon playing within the Cosmos ecosystem? How do you think it's gonna make an impact? Like obviously the bridges are very important, but also like it seems like it's a very robust like DeFi platform for a lot of people.
Yeah, so the reason why we call it Carbon, right, was because it's we like the idea of being like at the core of things. So Carbon in chemistry, right, it's like the core of all organic life, and we want to and we see ourselves as like a core part of the ecosystem where we can connect various things or various other elements together. So that's where we see Carbon. We want to be able to connect the various IBC chains and trade them or basically allow people to use the different tokens on different chains, however they see fit. So yeah, so Carbon, it's really focused on it's really focused on DeFi, and what our vision is that every IBC chain, every IBC token should be on Carbon eventually, and rather than going to say Binance to trade these tokens, you can actually use Carbon and put limit orders, hedge your positions using derivatives, and do all this directly on our on-chain order book.
Yeah, I think that's a question that a lot of people had. Like, you can see it right here. When IBC is enabled, does that mean that all the ICS 20 tokens will come to Demex?
Yeah.
You kind of answered that, right? Like you're kind of aiming at that to be a thing, so you can get perpetuals and futures and that kind of stuff on the Demex platform.
Yeah,
wow, that's
definitely.
that's actually really exciting. Do you kind of have a timeline for when you're expecting that kind of stuff to happen? Like when are you expecting IBC to be enabled?
So because we are already on the latest Cosmos version. Right now we're just setting up the relayers, making sure that we have the connections with all the various nodes. We are running some nodes of the other Cosmos chains on our own, but to just make sure that our relayer system is reliable. And once that's done, I think within the next 1 to 2 weeks, we will see us adding connections to other chains, getting tokens into DMX or Carbon, And on the reverse, we'll also be like pushing SWTH to the other blockchain. So Osmosis, which is like the AMM swap DEX of Cosmos, right? That's something we are also interested in integrating with getting our token there for just to make it, just to give the choice to all Cosmos users. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions is like what are some ways that Carbon is going to integrate into other chains and services throughout Cosmos? You said that you want to be listed on Osmosis. So when you guys enable IBC, do you think that you'll like quickly be listed on Osmosis so that people can transfer some of their value to the Demex platform?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that will happen probably in like one or 2 weeks time at most. The Cosmos is probably the first chain that we are testing actually at the moment for IBC and
Osmosis?
yeah. So we are
Okay.
reaching out to them and seeing how we can do governance proposals on both sides to do liquidity incentives, etc. Yeah. So all that exciting stuff it's actually happening right now in the background already.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool, actually. So you're expecting to see Switcheo on Osmosis, and then you'll be able to take the the Switcheo token from Switcheo, and then put it into the sort of like the Switcheo Carbon ecosystem, and then use it on Demex.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
So
kind of the goal, right?
correct. So that in the long run, we like I said, we don't just want to so I mentioned that we want to have all the tokens on DMX as an order book exchange, like a competitor to say Binance or the other central exchange. One of the other interesting things in terms of DeFi that we can do that I haven't mentioned is that rather than just spot trading these assets, we want to look at being able to use them as collateral for other things. So collateral for futures trading, or margin for say borrowing and lending, or basically using it as a settlement token for various sort of markets. So I think that will be really interesting. That will bring a lot more to the whole Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to take a moment. It looks like the questions are stacking up, and the community is very excited to ask you some stuff. So let's tackle some of those and save some of my questions for later if there's time. So just real quick, what sets Demex apart from the Gravity DEX? I mean, you kind of touched on it. There's like the perpetuals and the futures, and you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Gravity DEX, I think it's one of the main, one of the endeavors by some of the Cosmos team, and they call it Gravity DEX because they use the gravity bridge, right? For DMX, because Carbon has already integrated with many chains that not just EVM, so we are able to integrate say Zilliqa and any layer 2 out there, so Arbitrum, Optimism, etc. We already had this system in place, and that actually makes it the scope is actually a lot larger than what Gravity DEX has. In terms of market features, really touch on that. We do have futures, perpetuals, etc. I guess the third and more interesting thing that I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I don't think Gravity does this, is our order matching system. So we do have a very robust order matching system that actually uses like block auctioning. So what's interesting about this is that first, it's very efficient. You can settle like thousands of order matches within a single block with a really low block time of like 2 to 3 seconds. The second thing is that it's front-running resistant because all trades settle at a fair mid price for that block. That's why we call it like auctioning. And this order matching system is pretty unique in not just the Cosmos ecosystem, but in Texas in general.
Yeah, no doubt. That's actually really exciting. I need to do some research. I'm glad we're doing this interview. It looks like the community is really excited, so I have some more questions here. I think we can tackle some of them pretty quickly. This one is Demex the first DEX to be a cross-chain DEX enabling IBC?
I think in terms of order book DEX, probably. And I keep saying order book DEX because we basically can do limit orders, stop loss, take profit orders, etc. And this is unique to the ecosystem, I believe. In terms of first DEX, there's IBC. I do think Osmosis, like I mentioned, is one of the leading sort of swap DEXs. But like I said, the feature set is really quite different, and that's why it's really complementary for the Cosmos ecosystem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are cross-chain DEXs, but they definitely don't have like margin trading or features. Or does Demex have an orders book page?
Sorry, order book.
Order books? Yeah, does it have order books? Like, can you?
Yeah. So if you like go to app.dm.exchange, you can actually see the on-chain order books. If you actually transfer in some tokens, some funds, you can actually trade against the order book, and you can see it requoting. Also, something I didn't mention, right, that I think is interesting for users or for the audience that's not familiar with Carbon, is that I mentioned that we have a liquidity pool and we have order books. So how that works is actually, again, very unique. Actually, that's a module, the AMM module, right? It actually looks at the liquidity pool and it calculates what the size and the price at each price level should be. So actually, you can see the liquidity of the liquidity pool directly quoted on the order books of Demex. And each block, basically, if you like take a trade from the liquidity pool, you can actually see that AMM requoting the orders directly on the order book based on the trades that have been done.
I think it's worth kind of talking about which bridges are connected to Switcheo or sorry Carbon. It's Zilliqa, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain. Are there others?
So we do have Neo, and we are going to integrate. Yeah, so Neo 3.0, they have like an upgrade which has a lot of new features. That's something we're going to integrate next. And then we actually have the bridges for like AVAX and a lot of EVM chains set up. We do want to enable them as well, which will basically allow transfers of tokens on this blockchain into the protocol. So for about I mentioned just now, so Optimism, Arbitrum, are the layer 2s that we're looking at, and then we have AVAX, FTM, and one more I don't remember that we are looking at enabling as well.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of bridges.
Right. Yeah.
One of the first questions that actually popped up here was from Polar Bear, and he wants to know if you could tell him more about multiple liquidity backstops through Uniswap and Kyber network. Will you use Uniswap and Kyber from the ETH chain? And if yes, how will it influence gas costs? Because now trading operation costs only one Switcheo or Swift.
Right. So that's one of the early things that we're thinking about, like how do we use so how do we use not just our liquidity but the liquidity that is available in all the DEXs on all different chains. So the way we try to build things is we don't want to reinvent the wheel as much as possible. We want to build new and interesting things, and we want to be a more of a collaborative, a connective protocol rather than trying to like say, hey, you must put all your liquidity on our protocol directly. And that's why we have ideas of connecting or using liquidity on all the different protocols. So this is something we're still looking at in terms of gas fees. It's actually a primary concern, right? If the whole point of trading on this scalable optimized chain is that it's cheap because you all the transactions are basically just trade transactions. You don't have to compete with NFT airdrops or whatever you have going on in Ethereum. But the moment you try to use their liquidity, then it becomes more expensive. So it's really so something you're still looking at, but it's really as a last resort, because let's say you're already on Carbon or Demex, but we want to you still want to, you're real and you just want to do the trade. We don't want you to have to say withdraw out of the bridge and then do a bunch of stuff. We still want you to be able to execute your trade at the best possible price. And if that's and if the flip side, small gas, you're going to pay that gas anyway doing the withdrawal. So that's something that then is acceptable. I do want to say that right now, though, our focus is on faster chains that are cheap. So I think it'd be even more interesting if we can do that for, say, other IBC chains. I think like Osmosis or even Injective, which have some perpetuals going on as well.
Yeah, that kind of connects to this question right here. Will it be possible to connect with Kepler wallet to Demex and directly trade or provide liquidity with all of the Cosmos tokens?
Yeah, so actually, I think it's already possible to use Kepler. If you go to Demex, in fact, it's our recommended method to actually use the Kepler wallet, which is the wallet that best supports all the IBC chains. So you can actually connect with Kepler already, and then you can actually execute trades directly by signing with the Kepler wallet. The other question was, the other all the other tokens. So because Kepler it's integrated with the whole Cosmos SDK stack, it will also be really easy to do your cross-chain transfers from other IBC chains into or out of Demex, and then do what you want to do directly just with the wallet.
So usually, from what my experience with the Cosmos is you'll see like the token listed on Osmosis, and you said that might happen within a couple weeks. Do you think that we'll see ICS tokens within Demex around that time or slightly later, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think around maybe slight. I think we do want to. We probably push the SWTH token out first, and then once the audience is familiar with this new token, this new protocol, then we'll start listing their favorite tokens on not really listing, but like adding the tokens to the UI on Demex, etc. Yeah.
Cool. So there's somebody here that wants you to elaborate on the provision of deep liquidity on spot and futures trading, how and at what moment in time?
So we already have AMMs, right, for spot. And in terms of liquidity, it's I think it's twofold. One, it's really getting the incentives to the correct pools, to tokens that are highly traded. The other one, it's being able to, like I mentioned, use liquidity backstops such that it becomes like an aggregator rather than just a liquidity pool. I think that's one of our main goals for 2022. For futures, futures AMM is a lot harder, and we want to make sure that we get it right. So I think that will come pretty soon as well. Once we are able to do cross margin collateral, which is what I was talking about just now, using the various ICS token or using, say, WBTC as collateral. Why that's important? Because when you have a futures market, you actually want to be able to have multiple types of collateral so that your AMM is still balanced. If not, it becomes a AMM that's not really path independent, and basically your LPs may lose money over time, and that's something we want to avoid at all costs. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, sounds like you're really thinking about it. That's a sounds like a pretty big solution to solve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. We got some more chat here. People are talking about how yeah, let's talk about the roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Polar Bear is saying that the roadmap looks pretty ambitious. Can we expect roadmap completion in 2022? And could you please tell us what are the key roadmap priorities for the first quarter of 2022?
Right. So I think for early 2022, it's mostly what we talked about: getting the various chains, getting the correct tokens, incentivizing the spot pools. Going down the route, there are many more modules they want to build. But I think we want to see a very liquid, fully featured markets across both spot and futures in 2022. That I think is our primary goal. Will the roadmap be completed by this year? I definitely not, because we are actually doing so many things. So for example, we haven't even touched on like our CDP modules, where you can actually lock up collateral to mint stablecoins in a way that I think what the MakerDAO does, right, on Ethereum. Having like different market structures, options that expanding the options protocol, for example, and I think I don't have the roadmap right in front of me, but that's really a lot. Yeah, that's really a lot on our plate, and the reason for that is that we do want to be, like I said, at the core of DeFi for the Cosmos ecosystem, and that's why we find basically everything on our roadmap is features or basically financial constructs that we find that that exists in traditional finance, and that it should exist in DeFi as well. And in terms of our vision, by being at the core of of DeFi for say Cosmos, right, we want to make sure that all these modules are out there.
Yeah, no, it sounds very ambitious, but also it sounds like you are making headway and you already have a lot of established, I want to say like protocol wisdom as to how you can do this in the Cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Let's tackle some more. Just a quick question here. It looks like will Switcheo Labs run a Cosmos validator?
Perhaps. So as we add the various IBC chains, we realize that we end up having to run nodes for a lot of these chains anyway. So that's something that definitely we look at, basically promoting our nodes to validators. And we just run it for the base minimum commission, probably just for our supporters to use.
Cool. That makes sense. I wanted to ask you, actually, do you have an extra, like I don't know, we were supposed to run like 45 minutes, but we're getting pretty close, and there was a lot of questions on the Twitter. And do you think we could try to tackle them real quick, or what do you think?
No problem. We can do that.
Okay. Let's start with this one. What is the biggest challenge you face currently in terms of becoming a successful project or company? That came from Julia Dominica on Twitter.
Right. I think probably the most challenging thing for the space, it's not technical. It's definitely getting ourselves heard above the noise. There's really a lot of noise in the space. There's a lot of things going on. Some things are really interesting. Some things are just noise, right? And setting ourselves apart is one of the things that it's challenging, because we don't want to say say things that are not that attract attention for the sake of attracting attention. We want to say things that are fundamentally right, fundamentally purposeful, and the things we do, we want to build and we want to give value to users who interact with us. So yeah, so getting the word out, it's one of the biggest challenges and one of the things that we are trying to do a lot more of, especially in 2022. And I mean, that's why we're doing like an AMA review now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I actually really appreciate it because I'm learning a lot.
Right, no problem.
Let's slap this one on. It says that currently most projects and platforms are in English. How will you reach non-English local communities? Do you have any plan for them to better understand your project?
Mm-hmm. So we are a pretty small team. At Switcheo Labs, we have like about 30 people in total, and we do still sort of maintain other layer 1 dexes that I mentioned just now on Zilliqa, ZilSwap, etc. So in terms of managing multiple communities, we are not really at that level yet, and that's why we primarily do things in just English. As we grow and expand, definitely that's something we want to look at though, and probably this will be done in a more decentralized way with like various community leaders, community managers who are familiar with their certain their own language or their own cultures or their own regions.
Yeah, it looks like there was I was just looking through the questions that were posted on Twitter, and it looks like there's a big focus on wanting to distribute the information. Like, let me show you this one, for example. Marketing is a central element for every project so that everyone knows the potential that a project can bring is vital to achieve that goal set. What is your strategy to attract new users and investors to your project and keep them long-term?
So I guess we do have like plans in terms of more traditional campaigns, incentive campaigns for like liquidity, trying to get our tokens or the SWTH token on various platforms. And these are a lot of this we have to do it in a decentralized manner because we do basically the governance holders of the token. It's really distributed now across. It's all fully unlocked, for example. So these are all in the works, and but at the same time, we are still highly technical. We are a highly technical team, and that's really our expertise. So one of the other things is that we really want to keep building useful things in a way that resonates with user in terms of like UX, etc. And I think like a really good product, it's one of the other key aspects of marketing. You want users to go to your DApp, your protocol, and just get it. I think that sort of experience will bring really a lot of how do you say the word of mouth marketing through that sort of experience. It's something that cannot be underestimated as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you say that because, you know, I mean, I think that a big part of the reason that you were attracted to Cosmos to begin with is because the ethos of Cosmos is kind of like that. Like, you build something and it's really great. People want to use it, and that's how it grows the user base.
Definitely.
And a lot of people have the same question. It's kind of interesting. Real life adoption is one of the most important factors that all sustainable blockchains projects should focus to be more attractive in the investor's eyes. What has your token done, and what does it plan to do to achieve real world usage adoption?
Yeah, so I think we touched on a lot of that already, pretty similar. I do want to, yeah, I mean, I do think DeFi is one of the main use cases, a proven use case of blockchain ecosystems, and that's really why we focus a lot on it. We don't try to do like NFTs or other things because we believe that this just focusing on DeFi actually the quickest or the shortest route towards adoption. Because it's been proven, people are using it, and we do see people using it on Carbon and DeMx already.
Yeah, definitely. You're establishing a platform that already exists, but is more aligned with the crypto, like the crypto industry in general. And so that itself is a great marketing angle, I think. Okay, we have some people wanting to talk about, can you elaborate a bit on the technical aspects, including time of setting up the channels between Carbon and other projects?
Time of so it's actually really simple. I mean, I think if if you're dev, we basically upgraded to the latest Cosmos SDK base like a week plus ago, and since then we after making sure everything's stable, we spent like a couple of days and we actually already set up like a bunch of nodes with the other blockchains, and setting up a relayer. It's just a matter of a couple of commands. Yeah. So in terms of time, it's really like a 1 hour, or if you have a node already, it's like a 5-minute sort of thing. And because of how IBC is structured, anyone can actually operate a relayer. Anyone can set up this sort of channels. The only thing is we don't. It's going to be confusing if you set up too many channels and too many connections. That's why we try to have like a canonical sort of channel that everybody will use. And that way, when you look at like the SWT token on Osmosis, you only see one version of it, rather than multiple versions of it relayed by different users. Yeah, so most of the setup is just getting this canonical version into the UIs of the various things. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just around the corner for for everyone watching. It's not too far away. Okay, we're running low on time. This is crazy. These people are so interested. What can we expect new feature? When can we expect new features, contracts, and a full features launch? And will there be another trading position?
Yeah, definitely. We want to push more. Which, like I said, this sort of traditional marketing, it's going to be crucial to get the user eyeballs, the trader eyeballs. So that's definitely going to be a recurring sort of campaign. We want to set it up to be very community driven, very how do you say, very regular as well. But we don't want to just do one sort of campaign and okay, that's it. We want to make sure that this sort of campaigns are ongoing. Users are always looking at Carbon or Demex all the time. In terms of futures, we want to, I think few futures they're talking about perpetuals, right? So that's something that we are going to roll out this quarter as well. So we do have futures ready, but we have not actually launched, we have not actually listed like, the perpetuals contract. So that's coming out this quarter as well.
Oh man, you got a lot coming.
No problem. That's great.
All right, let's collaborations and partnerships are some of the most important cornerstones to help improve adoption. Can you tell us about your current partners, plans for partnerships, and what everybody stands to gain from these partnerships? I mean, you talked a little bit about Injective, right?
Yeah, so partnerships, various forms. Maybe I think here it's mainly about protocols, right? So we do have like a pretty close partnership with Zilliqa, for example, and our bridge that Carbon users actually powers basically all the cross-chain tokens on Zilliqa, for example. Of course, now we're looking at all different IBC chains. To be honest, I'm not. We haven't had the time to look at every single one of them. But like you mentioned, Akash, etc. That's something that we want to investigate more so, and then see what sort of partnerships make sense. We do want it to be a useful sort of thing, and not just an in-name sort of partnership. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you already have partnerships, and you're looking out there, making sure that you can find some in the Cosmos. And I mean, honestly, it sounds like you will.
Yeah. You're also talking to Osmosis, so I think we can expect some sort of external, like a dual incentive sort of model for the Osmosis LP, for example. Yeah.
All right, just real quick, it looks like let's just do like 2 or 3 more questions. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, try to end it at 1 hour. How secure is your platform to use? Have you done audits of smart contracts? And what security measures are adopted from bugs of smart contracts and hacking?
So we do it. I think for smart contracts, we don't really have smart contracts, but the main smart contracts will be the bridges, and these are all fully audited by multiple times by various people. I think it's on GitHub. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's definitely been looked through, especially the solidity contracts, which are very prone to error, right? Those have been looked at multiple times. In terms of the Carbon protocol, because it's such a large stack, it's not something that can be audited, and because it's also building in progress, right? It's not something that can be audited at once and then we're good. It's something that's an ongoing process, and we continuously look at it both internally and externally. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even Osmosis is still being audited, and it's been out for I think seven months or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's tackle this one real quick. Can we stake ICS tokens on Demex in the future?
Not sure what stake means, but if in terms of, let's say we decide certain LPs liquidity pools make sense, that's something that would definitely attract sort of yield or sort of incentives, such that we have liquidity on the spot market. Yeah. If you're talking about staking directly, I think you can do that with your Kepler wallet. So I think that's a bit different.
Yeah, you can bond on LPs, but if you're gonna stake, you might as well do it on Kepler.
Right. Yeah.
Will there be a fiat gateway on Demex, maybe using the Cosmos ecosystem?
So honestly, not sure. Probably not, because we like I said, we do want to decentralize everything from the order matching backend to the UI. The moment you have fiat gateways, we have this whole now Switcheo Labs is the operator of the fiat gateway, and that's something that's not really what the focus of the team. We are really focusing on decentralized sort of decentralized ecosystems. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're connecting to the Cosmos, you have other fiat on-ramps for people to use.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, we're here at the last 5 minutes. I kind of wanted to read this comment that Polar Bear wrote because it was kind of charming. Ivan forgot to mention that the Carbon community raised community funds in Switcheo and donations for running promotions and expanding to different communities. It is discussed by community how to use these funds. The community is awesome. And I do want to say actually that I've done a couple of these AMAs, and this has been the most interactive community that I've seen so far. Like, people are really excited to use this platform. People are really excited to see what's on your roadmap. And yeah, I kind of want to wrap it up with like, what, do you have any closing thoughts or any last words you want to say?
I think we covered a lot. I guess for the new users, do check it out. We have a lot of resources out there. We do have like the DeMx app. Do check it out and let us know what you think. Yeah, we're always looking for feedback. We're always looking to engage with new users.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Ivan. This was great, and it looks like people are thanking us because they're stoked.
Thanks. Yeah,
That was
thanks for having me, John. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Ivan. Appreciate your time.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.